Hello and welcome to a session I am calling Upside Downsville, which will include yoga and Pilates inverted moves and exercises. You will probably need your hairstyle not to be on top of your head for some of these moves. You will need a mat, a towel, perhaps a pillow. I'm also using a foam roller and a stability ball. For some of the moves, you don't need these accessories necessarily. You could do the moves without them, but I like them to assist me in some of these moves that I am conquering in today's fitness challenge. So we're going to just start in a seated position, rolling the shoulders up, back, around, and down, sitting up nice and tall, breathing in, breathing out, dropping the ear from side to side. It's a little bit of movement in the upper body and neck. And being upside down is really great for enhancing our mood, giving us new perspective, a literal new viewpoint of our world. So it's always good to include some of these moves in our everyday life. Hands coming to the back of the head and just opening up the chest in a little seated back bend here. And then coming into a hands and knees position for some cat and cow. We will be taking our spine in exactly these positions today. So we will be approaching the world of upside down through back bends and forward bends. So rounding the back to drop the head and then arching the spine to lift the head up. And about 4 of these. And then we're going to set up into a plank pose, curling the toes, feet hip width apart, shoulders hand width apart, and pressing the floor away, breathing in before we pike up those hips into our first inversion, the downward dog. We're going to walk the dog by bending one knee and then the other, dropping the heel down towards the floor and switch, switch, switch. Press the fingertips down into the mat, lengthen the arms as long as they can go. And now let's try both heels lifting and lowering at the same time. And walk the hands back or walk the feet forward or a bit of both into a forward fold over the legs. And we'll do a rag doll pose, swaying side to side, holding on to opposite elbows, releasing the neck, letting the head drop. And interlacing those fingers, we'll stretch the arms up and overhead for our chest opener, shoulder opener. And this arm move comes in handy for our rabbit pose, which is coming up in a few. I'm just bending one knee and then the other, kind of swaying side to side here, feeling some different sensations in the side body. And then we'll release those arms, we'll bring the feet together, and we're going to bend the knees and drop the tail to the heels, and then pop the hips back up and fold over the legs. We'll do that a few more times, moving between both worlds, upside down and right side up. Exhale to straighten the legs, hips high. Inhale to bend, drop hips low. And one more time. And see if we can hold on to the ankles, just challenging our balance here in the forward bend. As you inhale, you'll walk the hands forward, coming back out into that plank pose for a moment. And let's drop the hips, uncurl the toes, and move into an upward facing dog, but I have the knees staying down. You could always shrug the knees and lift them above the ground, and looking over one shoulder, letting the hip drop to the opposite side, and then the other, generating some stretch in the hip flexor and side body. And let's draw abdominals in to sit all the way back into child's pose. Breathing in, breathing out, and moving the hands in, we'll slowly roll up through the spine. Okay. I'm going to fold the towel just a little bit more because I'm going to place the crown of the head actually a little closer towards the forehead onto the towel, hips above knees, toes curled into the ground, and here's our rabbit pose. Those hands are again interlaced and lifting up to the ceiling to represent the ears of the bunny. I'm just going to switch the way that I'm interlacing the hands so that both ways get a chance to be involved. Feels different in our shoulders and in our pose. And lifting the hips high, let the top of the head press into the floor, and then we'll release rabbit pose and just move back into that child's pose. Release, relax, let go. You can stay here in child's pose, or we can pop the hips up for a tripod headstand. So this is a bit advanced. You might want to use a wall for support, or you might just want to skip this one altogether. If you're in your headstand, you can lengthen the legs all the way up to the ceiling and then drop one leg halfway down to the floor and switch other side, reaching that top leg high to the sky. Inhale both legs up, and then let's try piking the hips back a little bit just to bring both legs down at the same time, parallel to the floor. Lots of tricep work. And bring it back up to the ceiling. And with control, draw abs in, bend the knees, and flex the abs to bring the legs to the floor. Great. And then just a bit of a recovery moment in child's pose. Big breath in, and then let the nervous system relax with your exhale. Walking hands in, rolling on up, have a seat on the mat and sweep those legs on forward in front of you. And then scoot down so you have some of, good job everybody. And then scoot down so you have space behind you on your mat, because we will be rolling halfway back into that space and then inhaling right on top of the sitting bones. Heels pressed down, feet flexed up. You can even reach the toes long so the flat foot is placed on the floor if you prefer. So we'll do about 4 of these half roll downs. And we're going to move into rolling like a ball. So this motion is going to help us with some of our upcoming rollover moves from the world of Pilates. This is like a preliminary preparation move. And let's hold the seated balance in tabletop, chest lifted, breath in. And let's control a lowering down with our spine, legs, arms onto our mat at the same time. Stretch it out in your total body stretch. Shake out the knees and let the legs rock side to side. Open the arms into a T shape, bend the knees and sway them side to side. Twist and twist. Come to the center, arms down by the side. Feet are nice and close, hip width apart. Let's press into the heels, press into the toes, and let's bridge lift up. Inhale down, exhale up. So bridge is approached differently in the worlds of Pilates and yoga. So in this Pilates bridge, we're bridging up to a neutral spine. We're lowering down to neutral. We're going to bring the feet a little closer towards our glutes, towards our sitting bones, so that our fingertips can touch or be a little closer to the heels. And now we're going to try to find more of a back bend, more of a yoga approach. And often we inhale up with yoga and then exhale down, breathing into that back bend. So we're trying to find more arch in the back for our yoga approached bridge lift up. And I'm just holding on to the hips and glutes and giving them a little extra support to get that few millimeters higher. Drop the hips down, lift the legs up high to the sky, straight legs, and let's move into some scissoring legs. I've got flexed feet and alternating one leg down, one leg up. And switching the footwork to pointed toes for a few. And we're going to put those two moves together. Bend the knees, drop the feet down, back to hip width apart, and let's go back to that bridge move, lifting the hips and glutes up away from the mat. And we're going to shimmy our elbows more underneath us so that the heel of our palm can support our sacrum, and lifting the legs up into what we'll call a candlestick pose. So the bum is a little bit sticking out and the feet are over top of the head. And now we're going to repeat that scissoring leg motion from this inverted starting position. Try to keep your head still here. Try not to look from side to side because there's a lot of pressure in the neck and shoulders. See if both legs can stay straight. And we'll move into bicycle with pointed toes. Keep breathing. Try to tighten the tummy. Let's flex the feet and reverse the direction of the bicycle. You can do it. Being inverted is great for blood flow, circulation. Great, good. And dropping the hands down to the floor, let's slowly roll right back down again. Stretch out those legs, flex the feet, reach the arms overhead. Let's roll up, flexing abs and coming up into a seated position. So we're going to do that again, and this is where I'm going to incorporate the foam roller. Rolling down, that same sequence you can repeat, and if you have a foam roller, you can try using it by resting the sacrum on top, holding at the sides with the hands, and then let's slice the legs like scissors. So this one, the hips are not quite as high. It's a bit of a modification from our previous attempt. Moving into scissors with pointed toes and then some flexed feet, reversing the and inhale, legs back together again. Let's point the toes and drop the legs halfway down. Take them hip width apart, flex the feet and lift them back up together again. This is going to be our leg and footwork positioning for our rollover coming up soon. So together, pointed down, flex, separate, and lift back up again. I'm not lowering them very close to the floor, just not even halfway down. Okay, so now we're going to lift the hips up and away from the roller into that roll over Pilates move. Point the toes, bring the legs back together again and lower them almost halfway down. Flex the feet, separate the legs, and flex the abdominals to bring the legs overhead parallel to the floor. Point the toes, legs together, and bring them back down again. We're going to go for about 4 of these. Hands are just resting on top of the roller, pressing down into the roller to get that lift of the hips. Now you can always do this move with the hips on the floor. You can remove the roller. I find it a little bit more difficult without the roller. And today I'm in a modification mode. Moving into jackknife, so hands go to the low back, and we're going to really use those glutes to pike the legs up to the ceiling and then to lower them parallel to the floor again. Exhale to pike and inhale to lower. And if you want to be arms free, you'll just stretch the arms and palms onto the roller or onto the mat and try 4 more. Squeeze the legs in and glutes pike the legs high to the sky. Hands to the low back as we lower the hips down. Woohoo! And bend one knee in. Let's just reward ourselves with a little knee to chest stretch. Bring one knee in, stretch the other leg long. And if you're on the roller, you stay on the roller for this. And if you're on the floor, you enjoy it equally. Total body stretch. If you're on the roller, it's going to bring you into a back bend. Just taking a moment to release any tension in our body or mind or nervous system from that advanced sequencing. Okay, roller can go away. And now we're going to bring the stability ball, optional, up and overhead. Lift the legs up to the sky. And I'm actually going to use the support of my hands and arms to help me lift the legs away from the floor. I have a little low back sensitivity today, so if you can do it without the hands, that's absolutely fine, or hands and arms can help to get you into this plow pose. We are going to segue into a move in the Pilates world called control balance. So one foot presses into the stability ball overhead and the other leg lifts up to the ceiling. We can try this by holding the ball instead of holding the low back. It's a little bit more challenging. The key is to have both legs evenly activated, where the bottom foot is pressing down and the top leg is lifting up. And if you want to try even a little bit more fun and exciting, you can somehow magically move the stability ball out of the way. So the feet come down to the floor in our plow yoga pose. And we're going to hold on to one ankle as the other leg floats above the floor a few inches, and switch the legs to grab that second foot as it lowers. So one leg lifting, and it's like you're balancing on those shoulder blades. Lots of focus. Take your time. Say happy, encouraging thoughts and words like, I can do this, no problem, it's only 4. And then hands to the low back, let's visit our shoulder stand pose. So right now my feet are over my eyebrows, let's say. I'm going to try to activate more glutes, walk my hands more to the middle of the back, and bring those feet more directly on top of the glutes and elbows as opposed to the eyebrows. Bend the knees, stretch the arms. See if the knees can make a little contact with the forehead in this deep flexion. And take your time, try to control it down. And feet, wow, rest on the mat. Wow, good for you. That was impressive. Rocking it out side to side, just our rest and recovery. Take a moment, breathe in, bring the feet together into your butterfly legs, interlace the arms, just stretch overhead, and then wrap those arms around the knees into chest, rock it out, let it go. little words of congratulations and encouragement. And then we're going to sit on those hands, so the palms are down into the mat, and we're going to approach fish pose 2 different ways. The first way with wide elbows, and we're going to arch the spine, lift the heart up, and wide elbows so that the crown of the head makes contact with the mat, stimulating our meridians, our crown chakra, opening up the throat chakra, heart chakra. And exhale to tighten the tummy and return back to neutral. And now I'm going to bring the elbows closer to each other and arch the spine a little bit more, but the head does not make contact with the mat in this second round. Try to accentuate the spinal extension. Stay calm. Exhale, tighten abs, and bring it back down again into neutral. Take a moment, let it go. Reaching the arms overhead, flexing the feet, we're just going to do a transitional roll up here into sitting, and I am going to reposition my mat because for this final grand finale, I'm going to use the wall. And it's probably a good idea if you have a wall that you can cozy up to. It is going to help support your next and final move, which is the wheel pose. And I'm going to use the wall to kick over. It's going to be fun and exciting, like, being a child. So we're going to revisit the bridge pose. And if you just want to stay on bridge, cool. Option 2 is feet up onto the wall, and your bridge can come up higher, and you can stay here and just enjoy that higher hip bridge. And that's cool as well. Option 3, you can just straighten the legs and have them rest into the wall. This is a really great restorative pose, and one we are going to be in very soon. Option 4 is the wheel. So we're going to lift the hips up. I'm going to press down into the backs of my shoulders. I'm just doing a little bit of wrist circles here because the wrists are going to be flexed quite deeply. I'm going to press down as I exhale. Just give it a real good press. Lift the hips up and press the hands down. First, I come to the crown of the head, like in that rabbit pose, and then I press all the way up. I'm just looking side to side, letting the neck stay free. You can stay here and think happy thoughts, or you can find that wall courageously and kick over confidently. Yay! No big deal. That was fun. We're going to try it one more time. That was the first time I've done that in about 100 years, so now I'm feeling like superstar confident, and I'm going to try it again. Just catch my breath, tune in, get a little focused, shake out the wrists again. Bring the hands beside the ears, and on a 3, 2, 1, you're going to push on up. Lots of work in those arms, shoulders, triceps. And a moment here in wheel just to check out the scene. And 1 foot to the wall and exhale. Kicking up and over. Whoo-hoo, yeah. You are an inverted superstar. Great, and now you have succeeded. You have deserved a little bit of restorative moments here at the end. So just bringing the legs, the heels up to the wall, legs are straight or knees are soft. We're just reaching the arms up to the ceiling and kind of circling them overhead to the T pose. Inhaling up and exhale, just circling. And just letting those arms stay open, palms up in this receiving, receptive, kind of symbolic gesture. And now just relax. You don't have to do anything. You're just going to reap the benefits of all of that hard work. It takes a lot of flexibility and strength, and also mental fortitude to be able to do some of these upside down moves because they're very scary. And once we start to accomplish inversions, it can actually build up our strength, our boldness, our confidence, our self-esteem. So good job, everyone. Until next time.